Okay, this is a video for Embroideryworks. Embroideryworks has two different versions. There's Embroideryworks Everyday and Embroideryworks Advanced. Advanced obviously does more stuff. And for the past few months, the Baby Lock Elissimo has been coming with this program as part of a package. So a lot of you have this program and probably don't know what it is or why it's so great that they gave it to you free of charge. So I'm going to do a couple of videos doing some of the basic things that you can do with this program. And this one is going to be on lettering. So I'm going to show you how to play with and manipulate the lettering options that you get with this Embroideryworks program. It's pretty powerful, really. You'll see that I have more fonts available to me than you do if you just have Embroideryworks Basic, because I'm using the advanced one. But so you'll have 12 and I have like 40. Unless you bought the upgrade to advanced, which you can do. So I'm gonna stick with just stuff that you can do with Embroideryworks Basic, but note that you might not see all the same fonts that I see. Now, the first thing I want to do is set what hoop I'm going to use so that I don't accidentally make some letters that are too big to sew out in my machine. And I'm going to stick with the Elissimo theme, and we're going to pick the 200 by 200, which is the 8 by 8 hoop. And the way you select your hoop is you go up to this little, looks like a folder, and if you hover your mouse over it, it says Preferences. Click on that, and mine, it's already selected, but I'll go in here and see this is where I can pick what hoop to use. So I'm going to pick the 200 by 200, and say OK. Now it doesn't actually bring anything up unless I ask the software to draw the hoop in, and I think by default that's not selected. So to change that, go up to View, and make sure there's a check mark next to Draw Hoop. If you already had the hoop come up, then you don't need to worry about that. But here, I've got it set to draw the hoop, and this is my 8 by 8, 200 by 200 frame. So I just want to make sure that I don't make my letters bigger than this. Now I do have a bigger hoop with the Elissimo. It's 300 by 200, but I'm going to stick with the 8 by 8 hoop. So now to bring in some letters, I click this capital letter A here. There's a button. It's a capital letter A. I'm going to click on that, and it brings up my lettering box. Okay, so here the default was just 3 letters, A, B, C. And then over on the right-hand side in the lower part, I've got Properties. And this is where I can go in and type what I want my letters to say. So I just go in here and I'll delete the A, B, C, and I'll type in Embroideryworks. Very creative of me. Okay, so I hit Set now, and you can see that Embroideryworks is written there. Now this font here is called Block, and it's the default font, but I've got some others. Now to get to the different fonts, you hit this little downward arrow right here next to the font, and a little menu will open up, and see, I have a lot more fonts than you'll have, but you pick whichever font you want. With the Everyday, like I said, it only comes with I think 12 fonts, but you go and pick the one that you want, and it changes it. Now, I can see that this is actually too big to fit into my 8 by 8 hoop. So what do? Well, I can use the little handles here, these black handles. I call them handles. You can call them whatever you want, but if I say handles, these are what I mean. And if I click and drag, look, it's changing the size of my letters, but keeping them proportionally the same size. So my width and my height are changing in concert here. Now, this program is smart. It won't let me make the letters too small. Here, it's not letting me go any farther now. And it won't let me make them too big either. So if you find that the program isn't letting you go as big as you want to go, listen to it. It's because this font won't sew out any smaller or any bigger. It'll look stupid if you try to sew it out any bigger or smaller, because the digitizing is just not made for every size. So that's handy. It just won't let you mess up in that way, which is nice. Another way I could have resized these, say I wanted these letters to be as big as possible and still fit in this hoop, there's a button. It's a little teeny tiny button up here, and it's got little arrows that point out. I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it. It's called Fit to Hoop. If I click that, boom, that's as big as this can be with these proportions in this hoop. Now, if I wanted to make this bigger still, I would have to stretch it, which I can do if I choose these ones in the middle here instead of the ones on the corner. it'll only change my height. See, it's raising the height of my letters, but it's changing the proportions so my letters look stretched out. But if I needed just a little bit more height, I can get it and not have it look, you know, like I've made it too stretchy. So you can kind of experiment with that. So here again, we've got my lettering, what I want it to say, my font that I want to choose. I can go in here and choose whatever font I want. These little menus will let little sliders rather will let me slant my letters, make them look italic. I can change the spacing between letters. I can change the spacing between words. I don't have multiple words in here. If I made this embroidery space works, then my word spacing, see, it's changing the spacing between the two words. And the line spacing, if I had multiple lines, is great. So now I've got 2 lines, and I want to change my line spacing. That's changing the space between the lines. And now I can take this whole thing, fit it to hoop, and now I'd want to save it, so I go to File, Save As, and this automatically saves as both a stitch file and a working file, which is really nice. In Masterworks you have to save it twice, and in this you just save it once, and it saves both the stitch file and the working file. So I save as, and I choose wherever I want to save it to. Maybe I want to choose my removable disk, which I don't have because I don't have a flash drive plugged in, but that's what you would do if you were saving this to put it on your Arlissimo. You put that removable disk, the flash drive that came with it, in your computer. It'll show up in this menu as a removable disk. You select that, hit save, and you'll be able to put it on your sewing machine and sew it out. So that's one of the most basic things you can do, is the lettering. So I'm going to end this video here, and we'll do some other videos showing how to do some other stuff. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.